Alright, this is Streets of Rage 2, and I am doing this 2-player. I got my buddy Derek over. I've played this a little bit in the past, but not a lot, and he's never played this before, so we're both kind of going through it for the first time. You know, I played this so long ago I barely remember it, and you know, he's never played it at all, so basically plays just like the first Streets of Rage. Looks a lot like the first Streets of Rage. The graphics are improved a little bit. I think maybe the characters are a little bit bigger, but overall it's the same feel as the first one, which is fine with me because the first one's a great game, and this one's a great game as well, and it's definitely a fun game to have with 2 players. I don't think I've had as much fun on the Genesis in a long time, and you know, this is definitely a fun game to go through with a friend. The controls are basically, as far as I remember, the exact same as the first one. I do remember complaining in the first one that A was your special attack by default, and well, that hasn't changed. So A is your special attack, and B is your regular attack, and C is jump. Music, also very similar to the first one. The first one had great music. This one has really good music as well. I can't remember the guy's name that did the music, but the same guy that did the music for the first one did the music in this one. So, you know, similar music. You know, graphically pretty good. I mean, there's some very colorful areas in this game, and you know, it's an early Genesis game, but you know, you're certainly not you know, forced in the face with these, you know, color restriction, this and that. I mean, look at the game. It's colorful as can be, and it looks great for a Genesis game, period. This game came out in 1992. Of course, developed by AM3 or whatever. You know, developed by Sega. Obviously published by Sega. Like the first one, this game in Japan goes under a different name. That is Bare Knuckles. I mentioned that in the Streets of Rage video. I did Streets of Rage 1, that it was called Bare Knuckles in Japan. And of course, just like that one, this one's called Bare Knuckles 2 in Japan. One thing you may have noticed in the title screen, or sorry, not the title screen, but the character select screen, is that they added 2 new characters to this game. There was 3 characters in the first one. They took out the 3rd character from the first one and put 2 new characters in this one. I'm not a huge fan of the new characters, but once again, this is basically our first time going through the game, so we're not exactly experts on, you know, the characters or anything. Here in the arcades, you can see Bare Knuckle, which is, of course, like I said, what this game was called in Japan. So basically, that's like playing Double Dragon 2 and seeing an arcade of Double Dragon in the game. Like, kind of a neat little, you know, neat little throw in there. Game gets progressively harder. At first I thought, oh, this will be easy, we'll get through this in one go, but no, we didn't. Definitely gets harder once you get to about level 4. Level 4, level 5 definitely gets a lot harder, and you'll find yourself dying on the boss characters pretty easily once you get to about level 4, I'd say. Once again, it's our first time going through the game. Obviously I played Streets of Rage before, but I don't think Derek had played Streets of Rage at all. He has a Genesis. He has more old Nintendo games though, and he wasn't familiar with Streets of Rage. When I told him I got Streets of Rage 2, I said, I got Streets of Rage 2, you gotta come over and play it, and he was, what the heck is Streets of Rage 2, he says. So it was definitely his first time playing a Streets of Rage game, and he seemed to be pretty impressed with the game overall. You know, it's obviously he's played other games like this, you know, on the NES, and he has Double Dragon and stuff like that. So I basically just told him it was like a side-scrolling beat-em-up game like Double Dragon, so he knew what he was getting into. Yeah, this boss here I found a little difficult, but you know, we got our way through it. Oh, this game's also available on the Wii Virtual Console. As I believe I mentioned in the first one, it was available on the Wii Virtual Console. You can also get this one on the Wii Virtual Console. This game's also available on the Sega Master System and the Game Gear, but it's not really the same game. The levels are different. I think one of the characters is different, and some of the enemies are different, so for the most part it's not really the same game, but you know, it looks and plays similar. It's actually pretty good. I used to own Streets of Rage. I can't remember if I owned Streets of Rage or Streets of Rage 2 on the Game Gear. But they're surprisingly good at the graphics and everything. You know, good color. When you see those on the Game Gear for an old handheld, they're really good looking games too. This reminds me of like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game, when you're in the Technodrome and you're going down an elevator shaft and they just throw enemy after enemy at you. And there's also a level like that in Splatterhouse 2. Seems like all these beat-em-up games always have one level where you're going down in an elevator or something, and it's just, you know, wave after wave of enemies dropping in on you. Yeah, look at this. It's just getting harder and harder. We're going through our lives now. You do get a few continues, and it's nice in this game. You continue exactly where you left off, so I mean, it's basically just like more lives. I mean, it's not like most games where you continue, you know, you could be on level 4, but part 3 of level 4, and this game is the same way. Each level has probably 3 or 4 parts in it. You know, and the first time we died on like the 3rd part of level 3 or 4, I'm thinking, great, you know, you're going to start at the beginning of that level again. But you continue exactly where you left off. So the only difference is when you continue, you can change characters, and this is what happened here. We both died on the last boss and continued, and we thought we'd try different characters. So I was Blaze before, by the way, I forgot to mention that. I was Blaze, player 1, and now I'm Skate, and Derek was Axel, and now he's Max. And right about now we're both thinking these characters suck. I mean, maybe if we had more time with them, you know, there's something we're missing about them, but yeah, we didn't really like the character change, and eventually I went back to Axel and he tried Blaze, and then he died altogether, and I was left on my own here as Axel. But so this is about as far as we made it in our first run through. Not bad. I would definitely go through it again if he was down for it, but for now I'm leaving it there and we're out of time, so see you later.